Hey gang, it's time for my review of Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, survival game set in the mines of Moria. You know, if you know your lore, it's the abandoned dwarven city under the mountain. And after the 8-9 hours that we've sunk into it so far, I feel pretty confident in my opinion about the game, and I absolutely adore it. It's a survival game. You know, you're traveling, making your way through the mines after getting stuck inside because an attempted return to get through the original gates goes sideways, and you end up in there alone or with up to 8 friends. It's got all the things you expect of a survival game. You've got a hunger meter. You've got base building, recipes you need to gather, different biomes, enemies that get progressively harder as you move along. And it's the Mines of Moria. It's exactly the way it would look if you were to be dumped in there. I can't, I adore the art style. It sounds, the ambient noises sounds like creepy underground abandoned places filled with monsters. And it's exactly what I would want of a game in this genre set in this particular place. There's very few things I could complain about. The only thing that really kind of irks me, well, there's two. And there's not much ambient music. I know it's kind of supposed to be dark and foreboding. You're not really going to have upbeat music while you're trapped underground in the ancient mines of Moria, and you know, goblins and orcs are after you and you're trying to survive and find your way back out. But just the quiet can be oppressive occasionally. And other than that, the controls for base building take a little bit of getting used to with the way mouse movement works and keys for moving things up and down, and sometimes placements just don't quite, it's a little chunky. But overall, I think the game is fantastic. I played it streamed and played it the last 2 days straight. You can see both runs on the channel if you want to get a more extended look at it. There's lots of lore baked into the game. There's a progressive story as you move through to different zones. You'll be going back and forth depending on what kind of elements you need, or you need to go back to get particular foodstuffs for more advanced recipes. I like the siege mechanic where occasionally you're a large group of goblins or orcs or what have you will discover one of your camps and they'll, you know, try to raid you. Occasionally there'll be a whole horde moving through that if you aren't quiet and stealthy and make a noise, crap goes crazy quickly. There's a lot more to the game than I expected, and I have really enjoyed myself with it, and I'm going to be continue enjoying myself with it. The other nice thing is if you're playing with other friends on their worlds, and there are different world seeds, so you can randomize the worlds. Not every 2 worlds are going to be the same at all. The layouts will be changed. Some of the elements will be the same, like key places will be set pieces that you need for either story or just grounding things so that you can orient yourself, you know what to look for. But beyond that, the patterns of the mines will be different depending on which seed you use. When you go to visit a friend's world, if you're using your existing dwarf, the equipment that you have on you and in your inventory goes with you. So it could give you a little boost. Or if you do your first run and it goes horribly and you want to restart, you can put some extra stuff on your duder so that you can start on that. So you can hit the ground running when you start your next run, which is a nice touch. It's not a new mechanic, but it is nice. And honestly, to think that dwarves would end up in the mines with absolutely nothing is, they're always going to have something on them, even if it's just a weapon. So, but of course they teach you the core mechanics through the tutorial. That's why they drop you in naked and afraid. But, it's just nice that you can do an initial run, get a little bit of gear, and then restart and you're good to go. Because the challenge does escalate quickly. And if you move through zones too quickly without taking the time to find the recipes and the resources you need to get better equipment, it catches up with you fairly quickly as you move from one biome section to another. The thing that I did not see as we progressed through the playthrough was I never really got clear instructions on where to get more recipes. Sometimes it's when you pick up new items, whether it's new food or a new element, like a new ore or something, then you'll get some. But otherwise, it's rebuilding the dwarven statues, some of which you've seen in the playthrough behind me. You have to rebuild those statues and they unlock pieces or whole recipes. So you got to look through those in each biome area so that you can get all the gear you need to progress, so that you have a fighting chance in the next zone. And the maps get bigger. We've made it into I think the 4th zone at this point. Like the initial entry mines, the west mines, another area that I'm not going to spoil, and then into the full mines of Moria themselves. And there's a verticality to the map that is phenomenal. You can't just drop straight down because I'll obviously fall damage, and you got to work your ways possibly down or up in the mine to find your way out. And be mindful of where shafts of sunlight breach, because there are places where sunlight reaches. Those are important for farming. All in all, if you're an enthusiast of Lord of the Rings and survival games, or even action adventure games, I think you should really give this game a look. It's on the Epic Store. It's $40, which could be considered pricey for some people, but even though our copy was provided by North Beach Games and Free Range Games, I would be willing to say it's worth the investment if this is the kind of game you actually really enjoy. And, you know, if you want the hints of the Fellowship, which are in there, there's some messages from Gandalf in there. There's a world to explore here. And if you just want to get your dwarf on and explore the mines of Moria, I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. So yeah, I tried to keep this spoiler free. I hope I covered everything. It's, you know, I'm working on this video review thing still. I've been 15 years a game journalist doing written reviews. Maybe I should write them out. I don't know. Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe. We applied for YouTube Partner yesterday. Hopefully we get that, which means more streams. But yeah, for me, I'm returning to Moria. There's more game to be had. Have a good one.